Hello, everybody, and welcome to EU Group B. This is day 5 here of the Overwatch PIT Championship into the group stages. I'm CT Hurix. With me is Sideshow Gaming. How you doing today, man?
Doing really good. Looking forward to it. This is the climax of our group stages, at least for the European side of the tournament. And we've still got teams fighting here, but a lot of really good matchups in our final day.
So if we could head on over to the standings and take a look at what's going on over here, as we can tell, Misfits very much have secured their spot here in the playoffs, as well as Movistar Riders, who are both sitting atop things. 4-0 for Misfits, 3-1 for Movistar Riders. And it's really going to come down to Singularity and Team Dignitas, who are actually duking it out today in the last match, which will be more than likely forced seeding there, as the last two teams, Hammers Esports as well as X Alternate Attacks, given their performances throughout the playoffs, and in a little bit of an unfortunate mishap that happened yesterday with Hammers. You know, they're sitting 1-3, 0-4 for Attacks, and they're more than likely going to be out of the group stage here for Group B.
Yeah, they are. They are statistically eliminated. I believe that's the phrase that you use. And the playoffs, when they come up, the reason why that Team Singularity Ninjas and Dignitas game that we've got later on is so important is because it changes the seeding, and the seeding works based on, or rather the playoffs work based on the seeding. So it's who you're paired up against from Group A. So they're fighting to either get paired up against NIP or E United, depending on how their seeding goes. So NIP, E United, Vivi's Adventure, Laser Kittens already through from Group A. We've got our 4 teams, but we still don't quite know how that playoff bracket is going to form. Depends on the games today.
Yeah, and I'm really looking for that last match. I mean, that's definitely going to be a standout there, Singularity versus Dignitas. Dignitas, it really hasn't found their stride really throughout this tournament series. I mean, if you look back at what's been going on throughout this group stage with Dignitas, I mean, they've taken losses to Movistar and Misfits, which makes sense given those two teams' performances throughout the series. But I mean, really, it's been 1-2s and 2-1s across the board. Dignitas hasn't been able to find a team to really kind of cancel out and really, I guess, make a standout impression over even a team like ATAX, who, I mean, granted, ATAX was able to take maps off of, I mean, 2 of the probably, like, I guess, inside the top 3 for the group teams, which is kind of strange, I think, to me, because they got 0-2'd by Singularity, 0-2'd by Hammers, but then we're able to take maps off of Dignitas and Misfits, and that was Hollywood and Nepal off of both of those teams, which is, in my opinion, kind of fascinating. But nonetheless, I mean, Dignitas, still a pretty solid team. I imagine that last matchup is going to be pretty interesting, though, especially given how Singularity has been performing ever since taking that spot from LDLC, who had to back out at the last minute.
Yeah, Team Singularity Ninjas, Danish team, formerly known as Grand Danois, and they played under Fragsters before that. They've always been kind of around this level, but failed to qualify for the tournament itself, and then have been performing pretty well. But their matchups were easier when they came into the group. They got an upset win over Hammers, and beat Alternate Attacks in a fairly good showing from them. And now they're facing against the tough opponents. And Dignitas, I mean, they're a big name, and they used to be a really good team, but I'm actually more impressed with them in this tournament than disappointed or underwhelmed, because they've been so bad for so long that this is them finally showing themselves as a team that can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these others. And yes, their games have been, as you said, very close between all of the teams, really. But I've been impressed by their showings against the good teams. They beat Hammers Esports, who are still a good team, even though they're going out in 5th in this group. Mm-hmm. And they took a map off Misfits. They took Hollywood off Misfits. I think that's a decent performance for them. I think they should be the favorites going into this one. But this first game we've got going on as well, Hammers v Misfits, although it's not actually for seedings or who can go into playoffs, Hammers will be desperate to show that they're not just some car crash team that's going to fall out of this group and then fall out of style. They're a top team. They should be able to bring something here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some interesting performances, I would say, on Nepal a little bit. I mean, obviously, the last game yesterday can take with a grain of salt a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, throughout the day, and that, by the way, mentioning Nepal, because that is going to be our first map between these two teams. So, I mean, given that, I think that Misfits should, given their performance, accept versus ATAX yesterday, as we saw them dropping out there. I mean, they've been pretty consistent. They're sitting 3-1 on this particular map here, and they were actually one of the few teams to actually, I think actually if I'm not mistaken, the only team that was able to beat. Oh, sorry, no, they actually were not the only team. Two teams have now beaten Singularity Ninjas on Nepal. But Misfits has been really consistent. I think 3-1 on that particular map, and they took it to a game 5 on the matchup that they lost yesterday against ATAX. And I think it really kind of came down to the fact that Zebasai was getting dealt with. I remember looking back at your cast, you mentioned a lot of times that Zebasai was getting dealt with a lot of times, and there was definitely some stuff going on with the Ana to Zen matchup, if you want to bring up some of that and this particular map, because it might have a lot to do with what actually occurs between these two teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it would be more evident when they're playing against a team like Alternate Attacks, who really love the triple DPS dive, because it puts Zebasai, who's only recently moved over to Ana. He was previously playing Flex and then had previously played Lucio for the team as well. So Ana's a completely new role for him. And when you're playing against a dive composition, you're under so much pressure. It really separates the wheat from the chaff in terms of Ana players. If you're able to deal with flankers that are onto you and hit those really clutch sleep darts that you absolutely need to keep yourself alive, and use your biotic grenades in the right sense, and have the rest of your team play around you. And so when Manitin was playing Diva or Zarya and playing slightly further back to try and help out with that, there was something a little off in their positioning or teamwork together. And just it seemed in the individual play from Zebasai, who, although he's good on a huge variety of heroes, and that's why Misfits have had the ability to play all over the place, and he does a lot of the shot calling for them as well. So he has a lot of roles outside of just his individual play on Ana. But if you look specifically at his individual play on Ana and how he's able to batter off these flankers that are coming onto him, it leaves a little to be desired, and I think that's something they'll be really working on, especially on Nepal.
Yeah, and I remember going back onto Nepal specifically with this map. Village is a big standout where I've seen guys like Zebasai falling back into health packs and getting kind of ran at as a solo Ana, and some of those situations you can really kind of get dealt with pretty easily, where you can find yourself in 3v1 situations against a dive composition. But again, as you mentioned, Hammers Esports, while they have run a dive before, they are certainly, I think, in my opinion, at least a lot more comfortable going back on what they're comfortable with, which is that 3-tank strat, Fisher more than likely on the Genji, and then sometimes flexing over to 76. So I think that'll play a little bit into this as well. But Hammers Esports, I think, would be smart to try to be able to incorporate a dive, and at least some of these maps here on Nepal to be able to have a good shot. Obviously on Sanctum, they can go back over to what they're comfortable with the 3-tank being a prominent composition on that particular map. But outside of that, I think they would be smart to incorporate at least a little bit of dive if they feel comfortable with that particular setup.
Yeah, the thing about their team is that it seems like Snizzlenose doesn't really want to play Tracer. It's not a hero that he's super good at, but also he is really good at the Roadhog. He's an absolute standout Roadhog player, and Roadhog works really well on Sanctum, and it works pretty well on Shrine if you're able to get control of the point as well. And even when he flexes off onto another hero, he tends to prefer the Soldier 76. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Fisher here, I think, because he's going to be pretty much the only player who's going to be going forwards with those resources, with, like, say, a Zarya Bubble and his Dragon Blade and a Nano Boost, and seeing if he can pick off a lot of players in the backline. So this is going to be an interesting one in terms of stylistic matchup for sure.
Certainly that'll play a lot into this matchup. At the moment, it looks as though we're going to be seeing that 3-tank strategy coming out from Hammers Esports, and then we'll just be basically kind of waiting to see what Fisher's going to bring out. I imagine here on Shrine, he's going to be pulling out the Genji. That's what I think he would feel the most comfortable with, but looks like we're having a little bit of some fun from Hammers Esports, who definitely looking to not only impress, but, entertain today, I would say, is the best word for it.
They are born entertainers. Guys like Tveek in particular is just a riot. If you ever get him in the flesh. They're role-playing as Reinhardt at the moment, trying to throw out the bait. Is it a double bluff? Are we going to roll out with Winston? Does it even make any difference? But
Fisher actually going to bring out the Soldier there, so not going to the Genji that I originally anticipated, but nonetheless, he's going to be going over for this high ground over here on the stairs and just trying to contest this area, and they're just looking to try to take this shield down as quick as possible at the moment, and Reinforced actually getting taken down pretty low, does get the shield, but he's pretty in trouble actually at the moment, and we're seeing the dive actually being taken in as Reinforced finds the kill on Christopher, and it seems as though Misfits have definitely taken a huge lead going into this first stage, as Tveek already with the pulse bomb finding a kill there.
Yeah, this is a great composition. Look how aggressive Zebasai is as well. he actually gets picked there, which perhaps the hubris, he goes slightly too far forwards on Zen, but he has made that switch up. He was playing Ana predominantly yesterday when they were playing Shrine on Nepal, and now he's moved over to the Zen, and it destroyed Christopher's shield, and he was able to put the Discord onto Snizzlenose as well, and they just farmed him up as well.
And I'm looking at Maniton here to really make a big play. Snizzlenose has already taken out 2, and they're looking to retake the point and in style here as the Nano Boost already came out from Shaz, and Maniton being backed off here has the Graviton coming up pretty shortly, and he's also at 100% energy. He's just going to throw that out. Nevik's going to instantly take out the Dragon Blade, but they find that kill, and actually it's Fisher coming alive with this tactical visor as he finds a couple of kills for himself, and man, Hammers Esports have definitely established control of this point here.
Yeah, bit of a questionable Graviton as well, though, because they hadn't done enough damage to Christopher's shield. Despite the fact that Maniton's on 100 energy, he can't actually get inside them. And Christopher's Reinhardt shield just blocked all of the damage. Nevik's got debuff when he went in with the Dragon Blade as well, so now they've expended 2 really powerful ultimates here, and they're not in control of the fight. They've got the Earth Shatter and potentially both of their support ultimates for the next fight, but it's still going to be a difficult one to take.
Reinforce here on the Reinhardt has his barrier getting pretty low here, but it's Nevix who really needs to make a big play. Reinforce with a nice Earth Shatter coming out, but he gets charged right as he goes for his own, and Christopher taking him completely out, and it's Zebasai actually saving his life for the time being with a nice little Transcendence that came out. Big healing, and they find 2 kills to open things up here.
He got charged so far away there. Reinforce almost pinned to the other side of the map, but Zebasai chased after him with the Transcendence, kept him alive, and somehow Snizzlenose wasn't able to finish the kill. They've got a Graviton up again here, Maniton,
yeah,
so he's going to have 2 in the time that Seb's got 1.
Man, that's actually absolutely insane that he was able to get that one back up. Graviton right into the shield of Christopher. They're looking for these kills, and a nice biotic coming out there to try to save some of these guys, but they're going to still find that kill, and Christopher should be able to find the rest here as well, as we do see Sev dying off and the rest of Hammers Esports forced to back off, as now finally here Misfits have taken the lead on this first map.
They used the whole hog in the middle of that as well, but they were so far away, just both pinned against each other, held in time and space, and Snizzlenose whole hog not able to put in anywhere near the damage that he would have liked. So Ultimate Bank building once again here for Misfits, and now they're at 70%. Really difficult situation for Hammers to be in.
And we are going to be seeing Reinforces coming alive with that Earth Shatter. Christopher was nano boosted up. He's actually, Reinforce going to miss that charge initially. Christopher is still not going to be able to find any kills there. And Zebasai once again with the Transcendence to come over and save these tanks for the time being. And now they're looking to find a kill quickly, and actually might find it onto Christopher, who's kind of low at the moment. And oh, look at the damage coming out from Zebasai. And we do see Manitan once again, man. What is this man?
This is actually crazy. He's already at 40% as well. He's staying on really high energy, and they are playing into a triple tank composition where Shaz is putting in so much heals that they're just able to farm ultimate charge off them. Zebasai had 3 Transcendences there. Maniton had 3 Gravitons and was halfway to building another one. They're playing against triple tank, but they're doing so much damage and so much healing that their ultimates are building a lot quicker than on the side of Hammers.
And on the top of that, I mean, Zebasai able to put out those Discords too, which is certainly going to be able to benefit them in terms of being able to generate that ult charge a little bit quicker, given the damage increase that comes out as well. But, you know, going into this one, Tavik going to be bringing out that Pharah here. I mean, what do you think this is going to do to this triple tank composition that's going to come out once again here? Sev switching over to the Diva, and Fisher going into the Soldier again. But what do you think about this matchup here going on the second map?
Yeah, Sev switching to the Diva and Fisher on the Soldier 76 gives them the opportunity to deal with Tavik on Pharah if they take control of the point and the high ground early on. But it's going to come down to this first fight. If they get wiped, it's going to be really difficult for them to come back in.
We do see Tavik laying into this as well. Fisher still going to be able to find that first kill as Snizzlenose comes through as well. And we are going to be seeing more than likely Hammers Esports coming to form into finding this control point first. But I don't know. I mean, last time we saw a lot of great plays come out from Misfits to find control in that second fight. But is it going to be enough?
Tavik is so good on Pharah being able to play these kind of stages where you have really large sightlines, and it can be pretty difficult to play into a Soldier 76, but he uses the natural environment and the mobility around buildings so well to give himself cover, and he's already generated a barrage, doing a lot of damage from really quite far away.
Oh, he gets taken out, but he finds one of his own, and that's a big pick onto Snizzlenose too, because that guy has definitely been a big performer. Manitan looking to try to take some kills himself, and it looks as though Misfits have now cleared the point, and they flip it here and establish control with 28% for Hammers Esports.
Bit unfortunate that once Hammers had already gone down to the point, they don't have the mobility in their composition to be able to retake the high ground, because they would play really well if they were able to get onto the high ground with Sev and Fisher into this Pharah composition, but they were just stuck inside the point, and Misfits did a great job of penning them in there, making sure they couldn't escape. Didn't have the ults to be able to break out.
And we will see Transcendence charged up and ready to go for this next fight, so we should see a pretty decent advantage for Misfits, at least initially. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing Fisher go with that ultimate. Tactvisor coming out, and he's looking for kills. Transcendence heals everybody initially, but Zave going to be killed off there. And Hammers Esports just battling to try to get out of this room here with Christopher actually nano boosted up. And they're going to be able to establish control for what it looks like in this high ground. But Manton going to be able to get that Graviton Surge. They're laying into them, and the kill's coming out. That's to Vic with the barrage coming out. And that is what looks like a full team wipe as soon as they finish off Tomsy, and that will be that. Misfits coming out with a nice ultimate combination there for the win.
That was crazy. Maniton was just about to get picked off as well, and his bubbles were completely on point. He's been playing a great Zarya so far today. He had a couple of situations yesterday where he looked like he wasn't quite 100% comfortable on the hero, but so far he's been on fire today. The bubble onto him just to make sure he stayed alive and get the rest of his charge, and then used his ultimate. Bubble onto Tvik as well, make sure he can't be taken out during the barrage, and they destroy Hammers there. And now they're up to 75%.
Interestingly enough, though, Fisher able to get back up to about 60% into this next fight, even though he just used his tactical visor in that last fight. Snizzlenose with a nice hook, but not going to be able to finish anything off. And both tanks now for Misfits have been killed off. Nevix looking for a nice pulse bomb, gets it onto Christopher, but that I don't think that's going to be enough. Fisher now with that kill onto Nevix. Tvik actually trying to turn things back around with another barrage coming out from this guy. Tactvisor now going out from Fisher, and he does clean it up. Tvik and Zebasai going to be cleaned out there by Snizzlenose, and now Hammers Esports with control, now sitting at about 48%.
And that's a bit of an overcommitment from Zebasai to use the Transcendence there as well. He just 1v1 Sev. I think he was feeling good about himself, didn't want to die and hit the spawn queue just yet, but if they do die there and conserve that ultimate, it gives them a great opportunity to recap the point, and they're almost in one and done territory, so that's an ultimate that they could definitely have used, but they commit it, you know, just seeing if they can take the point.
Yeah, and especially given the fact that Fisher had actually just used his tactical visor just to clean up 2 kills at the end there as well. I mean, if they would have just accepted that, they would have definitely been at a distinct advantage, I think, as you were saying. And it just would have kind of set them up even better. Nonetheless, we're seeing Tvik getting shot at almost out of the sky there. And that's by Fisher, who tries to finish the job a little bit as well there. But Tvik now another opportunity as the rest of his team is going to be able to go through that high ground up through the doorway there. And Tvik now going aggressive onto Fisher, already laying him down to about 50%. And we do see the sound barrier coming out as well. Zave going to get eliminated almost immediately, but nonetheless, Misfits still looking pretty solid to try to take this here. Shaz finds the kill on Manitin, and it's Tvik in the backline looking for the kill on the Ana. If he can find this kill on Shaz, that'll be huge for them. He finally does find it, as it does tick into overtime. Control goes to Nevix there on the point, as well as Reinforce, who established it, and they need to take the mech out. Fisher with a nice kill from the Helix rocket, and that might secure things. I mean, we're going to be seeing if Tvik can hold on to this. He has the barrage once again. A nice kill coming out. The barrage comes out. Fisher finds that kill with the Helix rocket, as well as the self-damage coming out onto the shield as well from those rockets. Graviton coming out as well from Manitin. I don't think they're going to be able to make it, and that's going to be 1-1 now. Tied up here between Hammers Esports and Misfits.
And that hubris from Zebasai as he used his Transcendence comes back to bite them really badly, because they gave Hammers their only opportunity that entire round to be able to establish position on the high ground. And we said it right from the beginning. As soon as Sev on Diva and Fisher on Soldier 76 get position on that high ground, Tvik's going to have a much more difficult time, and their composition in general is going to find it way more difficult to get in through the point. So Hammers established that position by themselves by just kind of sneaking in and playing the objective. Nevix tries to do the same thing to them, gets down on the objective, forces them to split their attention, but by then they've got the ultimates. Fisher can stay alive. Tvik had to play around the buildings, wasn't quite able to pick off the Soldier 76, and they take that particular round at Nepal. And now this is going to be the interesting one, because they can play triple tank as much as they like on Samukam.
Yeah, and that is going to be a pretty decent composition for them to go up against, and now Zebasai going to be in a pretty rough spot, as, I mean, at any point Fisher can really kind of just jump in on him if his front line actually gains the advantage. And we see the charge coming out there from Christopher, trying to set that precedent, and Reinforce goes down, so that's free mobility here for Fisher. If he wants to go in, just has to wait for Manitin's hook to go down, and it does. He goes ahead and gets that heal off. But at this point now, I mean, Tvik actually on the Junkrat, looking to kind of reestablish control of this high ground. Looks like Fisher trying to turn things back around. Snizzlenose finds that kill, and it seems as though Hammers Esports still able to hold on here, but it is back and forth between these two teams.
Incredibly back and forth, and Tvik's trying to pump out the damage with his Junkrat. Has to fall back towards his choke at the moment as Hammers established position over the point. Sev was doing so much damage throughout that on Zarya, still incredibly high energy, and he's at 72% of his Graviton compared to Nevix's 50.
We will see Tvik just laying in the damage here. They're trying to get shield control. They know that they're going up against triple tanks, so if they can just lay out on these grenades here, they're going to be able to take that shield down. They're going to be able to jump into these triple tanks. I actually kind of like this pick that they've gone with, as long as they can make sure to try to stay away from Fisher a little bit and kind of relieve some of that pressure. And we do see the Riptire coming out, might be able to find a kill, but actually not going to be the case, as Sev actually finds the kill on the Riptire, if I'm not mistaken, and they finish that one off. And actually it's Nevix falling down here. Hammers Esports looking fantastic so far here on Sanctum.
But they use their nano boost onto Christopher, and Shaz and him, as they're around at that health pack area, get knocked off the cliff completely by Maniton's whole hog. So those are some really powerful ultimates taken out of the fight for Hammers. And now the ult bank's starting to generate. Nevix is going to have his Graviton to try and retake this point. Reinforce! What? This is ridiculous! It's like flying a kite in high wind. Reinforce was so close to falling into the pit, and then he charged back on. Charging into a whole hog, not always the best idea. Here comes a Graviton as well. They've used that sound barrier. Reinforce first to die. Transcendence popped out slightly late, and Hammers are getting a decent end of this fight.
Hammers Esports holding on versus an onslaught of ultimates. I mean, reinforced with the Earthshatter. We saw Nevix come out as well with the Graviton, and then Zebasai with the Transcendence, and they still win that fight. I mean, they're still able to pull that one out. And I think the only thing that they actually wound up using inside of those 3 ultimates was just the one sound barrier, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, exceptional ability to hold on and also find some picks inside of it, as well as they're looking to, I mean, they are looking poised to try to take a 100-0 here on this map.
Graviton used from Sev, seeing if they can get the damage into it. Biotic Grenade takes out both of them as Christopher finishes off the damage, but they've got Xavi and Tvik over on the point. They need to be dealt with as this point ticks up to 99. Overtime, everybody dead from Misfits. And Hammers Esports show why they're so powerful when it comes to triple tank v triple tank. If only we were back in the triple tank meta, perhaps they would be going through to the playoffs. But as it is, they find the win on Sanctum, but they're going to be back to a different stage now.
We'll have to see what that map is going to be. I mean, okay, so we are going to be going over to Shrine, and we did see Misfits taking this map the first time around, as this was our first map that we saw. And of course, Misfits definitely hoping to try to take this one as well, so we can go into a map number 5, or round number 5 here on Nepal. But I don't know. I mean, Hammers Esports has been looking good the past 2 rounds here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, they did look good, but I think it was more of a slip-up from Misfits that actually gave them Village. So I think you still have to favor Misfits so far. They look better when it isn't just that direct triple tank to triple tank opposition. And Zebasai on the Zen has looked like he's not a weakness for the team anymore. He's definitely putting in way more impact on that particular hero.
We're seeing high ground. Hammers Esports just jumping up there as they are on that triple tank. They want to kind of establish themselves up there and just play slow a little bit as Fisher just tries to get some damage out. And we do see Tvik just getting aggressive here right onto Snizzlenose. They have the Discord on and they find that kill as well just to open things up. And they're already aggressing onto Shaz here in the back. They find that kill as well, and it looks as though this time around Misfits definitely playing this dive very, very intelligently. They find these kills and they're looking definitely a lot more solid here on this particular map here on Shrine.
It's really interesting as well looking at Misfits and all of the heroes they have in their hero pool, because Nevix sometimes plays Roadhog, and Manitin most of the time, if they need a Zarya, will be playing Zarya. But when they play both of them, they actually switch it over. So Nevix plays the Zarya, and Manitin plays the Roadhog. They have such a large hero pool and flexibility that they can essentially play any composition they want.
Tvik actually landing that pulse bomb onto the Roadhog there of Snizzlenose, but the shield comes up from Sev, and that actually saves the Roadhog but kills the Ana, so Shaz fell there to the pulse bomb. Misfits was able to just basically just trounce them right after that. I mean, no healing into the triple tank composition. That's definitely going to be turning that composition into a folding long chair, I would say, is best analogy for that. Nonetheless, though, Tvik looking to try to get that pulse bomb back up here into this next fight, and he's sitting now at about 90% though, so certainly looking good and poised to try to get another one of those. We do see some aggression coming out. We do see as well the Transcendence from Zebasai, and they're looking to just run these guys over. Nevix coming out with the Dragon Blade. They find 2 kills with it and backing them back up towards their spawn. Snizzlenose to fall as well. And that's once again Misfits holding on in these fights and looking dominant with this this double DPS composition with Manitin on the Zarya still. Still, I mean, we've seen some great performances from him on the Zarya on this particular map, but it looks like that has been continuing here as well. 73% now for Misfits.
And they're playing the absolute classic OG dive composition here with the Zen. Manitin with the Graviton going to walk forwards. He's going to pop it onto Snizzlenose and Christopher. Fisher's got the Nano Boost in the back line, though. Going to do a lot of damage to everybody. Already taken down Tvig. Reinforced Manitin fall as well, and Hammer's getting the better end of that one. Baited everybody in. Baited the commit out of Misfits, and then destroyed them with the ultimates they had in their back pocket.
I think if we would have seen, a Pulse Bomb really kind of jumping right into that Graviton and seen a little bit more, seen a little bit better execution on the side of Misfits, they might have been able to just go straight through that, that Nano Visor. They might have been able to find that damage and clean that fight up, but nonetheless, that's not going to be the case. Hammers Esports now with the unfortunate position of trying to battle back to basically go straight to 100 here against the composition, that traditional dive composition. We do see the Graviton coming out here. Reinforce going to die off there, and that's Nevix dying second, and it seems as though Hammers Esports should be able to take this one as Fisher finds 2 picks there at the end, and they back Manitin off towards the spawn here as well.
They've got about 70 seconds. Ticking down now, but at least a minute here for Misfits to come back into the fight, generate an ult bank, or at least some kind of advantage to use. The way that they synergize up when they have the Dragon Blade, they obviously don't have an Ana, so they can't use the Nano Boost with it, but they can keep him alive by using the Transcendence at the same time. Manitin's already used his Graviton earlier in the fight. They know that one came out of Seb as well, so they're not on the field, and they have to block this Earth Shatter as well from Christopher.
But at any point, I mean, Fisher and Shaz more than likely to come together. They need to use as many ults as possible. We see Christopher actually getting the Nano Boost. He's been consistently the target of these Nano Boosts, as Fisher just backing up, finding some spacing for himself, because everybody has to look at Christopher and where he's coming at, as that damage coming out from the Nano Boosted hammer is just ridiculous. So they find those kills, and now the flip comes out nonetheless, and we do see Control going over to Misfits initially just to kind of take away some of the points in that particular fight. Hammers Esports flip it back now, and now it's only down to about 30 seconds here with not a lot of options actually left for Misfits. Basically kind of going to be relying here on Reinforce and Manitin in this next one.
I'm pretty surprised they committed their Dragon Blade and Transcendence to that one actually, because now they're relying on basically a big bang combo to try and completely turn this fight, or a really good engage from their dive composition as well. Reinforcers pop down the Primal Rage, Graviton out, but that one's from Seb. Catches Tweak and Reinforce, both going to fall. 4 players down, and now it's up into the late 90s here. They need some players on the point.
I don't think they're going to get there. Nevix trying to make the play, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen. He actually does trigger it with a nice little dash coming out there, and Zebasai, oh, poor Zebasai, to try to get on there. And we do see a Graviton coming out, Reinforce jumping on top of that. I don't think they have the firepower to finish that off, though. Christopher getting down very low to the Pulse Bomb, and we do see Misfits still trying to hold on here as their Lucio here. Zave did get on the point, but he's going to be picked off as well. And that should be it as overtime ticks down, and it's 3-1 in favor of Hammers Esports actually here on Nepal.
Wow, they destroyed them on that particular stage. Really came back and showed their power when they're in control of the point. They struggled again and again to be able to retake it. But once they had control, their ult economy was really good. This is the highlight again from Misfits, but that was the only stage. Oh no, it wasn't even this one, was it? It was the previous time that they played on Shrine. They kind of threw that village one away. I feel like in a sense they also threw that Shrine game away, because they had 70 seconds in which to create some kind of opportunity for themselves and continue to use 2 ults in each fight to try and turn it around when they know that Hammers have a lot in their back pocket as well. Maybe it's a continuing trend for them on King of the Hill, because it has seemed like a point of potential weakness for Misfits.
So going into this second map now, I mean, in the past, Misfits have only lost 2 maps, and that's Hollywood and Nepal, and now Nepal again. Every time that they have lost a map, they have gone to Hanamura as their, I guess, comfort pick. Do you think that we're going to be seeing another Hanamura coming out here up against Hammers Esports, or do you think they're going to go with something else? Yeah,
I mean, why not? They're a team that definitely seem confident and comfortable with Hanamura. They've performed on it. It's the kind of map that really rewards. It's the kind of game mode that rewards being prepared and knowing what your enemy composition is going to be. It also rewards flexibility and tactics. So yeah, why not? Take him to Hanamura.
So we are going to be seeing Hanamura as that next map, and we're going to be seeing Misfits actually going for the defense up first. So very consistent. That's 3 for 3 now after losing a map that they just go over to that. And it seems like that is probably their most comfortable pick, as they're certainly sitting very comfortably on it, 3-0 so far, as those scorelines have been 2-0, 2-1, and 3-2. And I think there's been time left in every single one of those, if I'm not mistaken. So they have definitely looked very strong on Hanamura so far. And I think that their chances, at least in my opinion, are pretty good here to be able to battle back into this one. What do you think about Hanamura here for them?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually saw Misfits play on Hanamura. Have they played on it during this tournament? Not that I can remember anyway. So it'll be, I don't know, whenever it comes down to assault maps, because
Are you
the
talking
teams...
about Hammers Esports, or are you talking about
Yeah,
Misfits?
Hammers, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Hammers Esports, they have not played it at all. I think you said
Yeah.
Misfits, if I'm not mistaken. But
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
so
I meant Hammers.
yeah, Hammers Esports has not played Hanamura yet. So I don't know what to expect from them at all, at least personally.
Yeah, see, the roster doesn't really have that much flexibility in terms of the stuff that you would want to bring to Hanamura as well. At least not that I'm aware of. Maybe they've got some pocket picks, but Hanamura, the first choke point at least, is the kind of singular choke that is very difficult to get through if you're actually playing a tanky offense, which is the kind of thing that Hammers like to play. And even when they split it up and play a 2-2-2, they don't play a dive 2-2-2. They play a fairly tanky 2-2-2 with Christopher normally on the Reinhardt and Snizzlenose still on some kind of still on the Roadhog, unless Seb's on a Diva or something like that. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. They're going to have to go outside of their comfort zone to have a composition that works well on attack.
Oh no, Hammers Esports just going ahead with the memes again, throwing some jokes out in chat. But nonetheless, here we are going to be seeing the defensive side. It looks as though, I mean, Manitin right now is on a Torbjorn. I mean, do you expect this to stay, or do you think they're going to be going for their, I guess, more traditional dive style composition here for the defense on Hanamura?
They did play a Torbjorn yesterday, actually, when they played Hanamura. It seems to be a strategy that's very much comfortable for them, but I disagreed almost completely with the way that they ran it. The problem is that if you put a Torbjorn down, when you see the good Korean teams that play with a Torb, for starters, it's very weak against a dive composition that has a Diva in it, because they can completely take the damage out while still getting really close to it, and then it just gets shredded from close range. And especially if you've got a Genji in the situation, you can get up close to it and get your reflex on it and then finish it off. But it can still work if you have it off on a side path with the Torbjorn playing kind of on his own on an off angle, and you have the rest of your team either playing up close or playing on the other side or playing around the point and with some mobility. But instead, Misfits like to play around their Torbjorn turret, and I really don't think that that's the best way to play Torbjorn at all, because it means that all of the focus is centered around one location on the map, and damage is shared between all of your players. You know, it's like putting a big red marker, shoot here for maximum 6 times damage, and you hit everyone on their team.
Especially given the fact that Misfits runs mostly a dive defense here. I mean, they have the ability to jump over to protect Manitin should they require to. I mean, I have to agree that I think it's kind of interesting that they don't take advantage of the fact that they can jump over at any point. But nonetheless, Reinforce as well as Nevix up there in the back, and they're going to be kind of off by their own. And Fisher actually getting taken down pretty low there. And this is actually a 3 DPS dive here coming out from Hammers Esports to start things off on their attack.
Okay, this is something we haven't seen very often from them at all. Sev moving on to the Tracer. They've dealt with that turret, and Zebasai was hiding up top. Fisher misses the dash as well, and Zebasai's going to drop down, but there's still players playing around the point. They've got this first tick already.
And Nevix still trying to battle things back. He finds 2 kills in a little bit of a duel here with Fisher. Not going to be able to finish that one off, and Fisher should be able to find those heals, but comes back to Nevix, and they actually lose the point there with Nevix not able to actually make any plays. He gets taken back over to the spawn, And now Zebasai going to be taking a late death as well as he jumps off. And that's going to be big because now they have a 6v4 advantage. I mean, Nevix should be able to come up, but they should be able to take advantage of the positioning early on and try to get control of the point here. And now we do see actually them jumping right onto the point. Zave going to be eliminated there. Fisher just cutting through everybody. Has the Dragon Blade available. Cuts through Reinforced, and he's looking for Zebasai next. Should be able to find this kill as well. Takes him down, slashes him right through. Mech comes out from Manitin, and he dies off as well. I mean, I don't think that Misfits has an opportunity here to really kind of battle back. I think really big misplay for those two guys to die off at the end of that first point.
Reinforced back on the point, almost up to his primal rage, but isn't going to get it. 97%. Manitin coming onto the point as the Mei is going to be able to delay, and that tactical visor coming out from Tvik, picking out two absolutely crucial targets, starting to turn the tide of this fight in favor of Misfits, but they've had to use a lot of ultimates just to hold on to that one.
The good news for Misfits, though, is that they were finally able to get that hold off, and only one tick there went in favor of Hammers Esports, and they were in a dire... I mean, any other team in this grouping, I think, would have lost that point. They would have lost control. I think that's fair to say. Nonetheless, I mean, I think a big reason why they were able to control it was because Fisher wasn't able to finish that kill off on Tvik, who had that tac visor coming up. If he would have been able to get that dash on a Tvik there with the tac visor, he should have been able to finish the kill, and Tvik wouldn't have gotten that double kill with the tac visor. He would have been eliminated. They should have been able to close it out there. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing Misfits just kind of jumping around, trying to get some ult charge back, some aggression coming out there from Christopher, knocking these guys off the high ground. Nevix now looking for the kill on the Lucio. He has that Harmony Orb, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to finish that one off, especially as Shaz comes over and assists him. Christopher actually the one in trouble as Nevix falls, but still 2 kills in favor of Misfits as they're backing these guys out a bit.
Misfits seem to have a really good understanding of how to defend B. And that's why it troubles me so much that their attempts to hold A have been, in general, quite catastrophic and have led them to be really struggling to hold on to B in the first push. If they played a much more safe approach to point A, they would be able to fall back to B much more easily, have ultimates up, have all the players alive, and just be able to grind out this one for a long time. But they have to hold on now for 5 minutes.
And Reinforce, like basically single-handedly just trying to contest this high ground, has himself down pretty low. Opts not to use that Primal Rage as he thinks that he can basically just get back to the point pretty quickly here. So he doesn't go ahead and use that, and Misfits now, regardless of that, look to have actually kind of established themselves and taken this fight now in their favor. And that's Nevix finding that last kill on Sev there to close things out.
They need to get onto Tvik because he's just holding on these high grounds, jumping around, using his Helix rockets to reposition himself wherever he wants. He's going to have a Nano Visor to absolutely ruin this Dragon Blade if it comes in. And even if it's a Nano Blade, the Nano Visor ends up winning out that fight if you don't immediately close down the distance to Tvik. He's playing so far back on the high grounds, he's dishing out a ton of damage. It's going to be really difficult for them to get onto him. And they've actually changed their composition completely here.
Yeah, so that triple tank coming out with Sev actually going back over to the Winston. So this is their old composition from, I think, back in February. But look at the options here defensively for Misfits as they're just going to open things up. And it's Nevix coming alive with the Dragon Blade as Tvik actually going to get jumped at. But the thing is that everybody else was just left behind there. I mean, Sideshow, what do you make of that with the 2 primary damage dealers, the 2 primary space makers just left the rest of the team behind to try to deal with Tvik, who didn't really even have to do anything?
You can't put that much focus on Tvik as well if the rest of your team isn't, or if you don't have somebody trying to distract Zebasai, because otherwise Tvik just stays alive using his biotic field and getting shot at by Zebo over the other side of the map. Hanamura's got a lot of space, so unless you're taking the fight on the top right and establishing position early, and they actually took the bottom side and ended up giving all the height as they're doing now, you're just setting yourself down in a pit to be spammed at.
And Tvik actually going to get jumped at once again here, but in a great position to just fall back to, and they still have 5 ultimates. Nizzleno's going to be able to get that hook somehow from that lower ground, and still, I mean, we see a lot of options here for Misfits. Zave actually going to go ahead with that sound barrier, and that's going to protect them a bit. Nano Boost going out to Manitin, actually, as he's looking to try to take this shield down a little bit, keep holding this point with that damage reduction. Fisher getting taken down pretty low as he's going to go back to that health pack and get that heal, but still, Hammers Esports looking like they might actually find a couple of kills. They need to get them quick, though, and that's Tomsy actually falling short. Reinforced jumping back onto the point here pretty shortly, and I think with Tvik there, holding on with just, I mean, basically no health at all, have been able to find just enough kills where they should be able to get control back, and it seems as though that is the case here as Nevix not going to be able to find that kill, but still they back them up.
Snizzlenose immediate pick onto Tvig to take him out of the fight is brilliant. That's the initiation that you absolutely need. And then as they're playing on the point and brawling, the Nano Boost goes out onto the D.Va. I still don't quite understand why teams do this rather than prioritizing one of their DPS targets to get in their face. They could have wiped them there with the Nano Blade, but they're just keeping it steady. And now here comes a big initiation with all of the ults. Primal Rage used as well as a Whole Hog to get people off the point here. They picked up 2 kills fairly early on. Used an Earth Shatter as well. Probably going to get a couple more crucial targets. And it's only Manitou left on the point at the moment.
Yeah, and just another great hook coming out there from Snizzlenose, and yet the third one to make it there as Tvik jumping back onto the point. He's been eliminated time and time again here by this Roadhog Snizzlenose, and he's trying to take his revenge. Does find that kill as he jumps back onto the point, and Tvik getting assaulted now by this Winston from Sev as he's all over this guy. Manitou trying to close things out, trying to hold on. Christopher down pretty low. They need to find this kill. I mean, they could have just punched him, Sideshow. They could have just punched him, but yet they don't find that with the sound barrier going up as well. And again, Manitou just trying to hold on. He's finally going to get killed off, and it looks as though Hammers Esports might be able to hold on to this one, but still, I mean, Misfits just doesn't let anything go. They're so good at getting the re-entries there from the spawn, and Nevix with an opportunity actually to jump in, but he gets eliminated there, and Hammers Esports finally take it. 43 seconds left in the time bank with that second objective finally being taken from Misfits there.
What a great initiation from Hammers. They leap in, Primal Rage gets a lot of space on the point. The Whole Hog starts pushing people off and actually gets a pick onto Zave, so that's a huge amount of healing dealt with, and speed to be able to get back into the point as well. And then the Earth Shatter from Christopher really starts to seal the deal of that first fight because he knocks down a couple of them as well. And then, unfortunately, because they wiped them so quickly with their first fight, everybody from Misfits started spawning at the same time and coming back in. And yet Hammers kept finding the picks. Fisher really on fire with the individual targets he was able to pick off and slowly ground them down. They capped with 43 seconds left. But Misfits still look really good on their B defense. It was just a car crash of an A defense that left them in that position where they had to hold for so long.
I think one thing that stands out from Misfits as well is their ability to, it doesn't really, they don't typically find a first push there on Hanamura, I would say, as often, but they still are able to consistently take the first point. But when they do take it, they have a very good effect of being able to take the second very, very shortly after. Do you imagine that they're going to be able to pretty much just run through the Hammers Esports defense here, much like they have the last, I think, 3 times that they've played this map? Or do you think that Hammers Esports might be able to slow them down a bit?
They tend to have really good target selection, and if you win this fight with your DPS players doing a lot of damage, then you end up having a lot of... And if Zebasai gets his... if you're playing the DPS dive composition, and Zebasai is getting a lot of damage out as well from his Zen, then you have a lot of really impactful ultimates to be able to go and just roll straight through on that first push. So, yeah, I'd expect them to... You want to look here at who Misfits are targeting and who they're focusing early on, and see how quickly that ultimate bank is building for them.
A big indicator of that will be who Nevix and Tvik jump on, and certainly, Reinforce going to be setting the pace, I think, opening things up, and Nevix actually jumping straight in here. They're looking right at that Winston to open things up, and Reinforce just trying to establish some spacing as well for the rest of the team to try to jump in. Christopher getting Nevix down about half HP, but still, Fisher with the only kill, and that's onto Tvik, actually, as Hammers Esports might be able to hang on to this one. Fisher does get that Discord Orb actually taken out from Zebasai, and Zebasai getting pretty low here as he's just trying to dish out the damage from afar. No one's really contesting him, at least yet, and since we have seen Tvik taken out, they have slowed down the pacing of their attack, but he's back now, so definitely looking for them to re-engage here. Tomsy taking a couple of hits there as Zebasai again just laying in the damage, and Fisher in the back line is trying to contest this Zenyatta, but the Zenyatta actually helps to find that kill, and it looks as though once again Misfits, Reinforce actually almost falling off there, but Hammers Esports have kind of slowed things down a lot for Misfits as they find that kill there. Things going back and forth yet again. They need to be able to deal with Tvik and Nevix though, or else things are not going to go well for them. The Dragon Blade coming out from Nevix to find that kill. Or sorry, yeah, the Dragon Blade to find that kill, and they do finally close things up here. It was a little bit back and forth there, I think, for Misfits, but they do establish control, and they don't have the Dragon Blade going into that next fight to try to take that second point.
Yeah, that was actually really well positioned from Hammers. They supported the rest of their team excellently there, and Nevix had to use that Dragon Blade to be able to take the second fight. If he doesn't use the Dragon Blade in that very instant, then Fisher and Snizzlenose and Shaz are getting their ultimates up, which they have them now, and they would have been able to defend that with their own ults. And now this is not going to be the same kind of roll situation. The Misfits team that's coming in has a couple of ults to burn, but they're just going to try and force them out of the defending team of Hammers here, who are getting the full wipe, and they didn't really have to invest that much either.
Yeah, so they have a lot of options going into that next fight, only using 2 of their ultimates there, Snizzlenose and Shaz, with that Nano Visor. But again, I think a big thing for them was the fact that Nevix was forced to use the Dragon Blade. Time and time again, you see Misfits utilizing the Dragon Blade to basically just try to take early control of the point. But given the fact that they lost the first fight and they had to pull out a little bit, I mean, they had to pull out a lot to be able to win the second one to establish control. And then really Hammers Esports didn't really put too much effort into that last kind of hold. I mean, certainly we'll have to see if that's going to be making a difference here as Fisher brings out the Dragon Blade, finds a kill on Zave, and he has that sound barrier, so being able to eliminate him is going to be big. Should be able to find the kill on Zebasai here on the Zenyatta as well, as Hammers Esports cleaning things up pretty nicely there in that one.
That's a really good push, though, by Misfits, because they don't use any of their ultimates, and they managed to get both the sound barrier and the Dragon Blade out of Hammers Esports. Now, they're banking on the fact that Snizzlenose and Shaz haven't done enough healing or damage to be able to generate their ultimates yet. And they're banking on the fact that Nano Visor isn't going to be able to wipe the team as they initiate here with all of their ults. So that was a really good dry push from Misfits, force out some ultimates, generate an ultimate bank of their own, plus that ultimate advantage, and now they're going to initiate. This could be a really dangerous push for them, but Shaz might get the nano boost.
We'll have to see if that comes out. A nice leap onto Reinforce, actually. A sound barrier comes out, hits everyone there as Reinforce helps to find that kill on Shaz. Discord's going out to try to eliminate the next target. And look at this, Fisher getting dealt with so easily there by Reinforce here on the Winston. Fisher trying to turn things around, and they still have a lot of ultimates to work with. Nevix finally able to get that Dragon Blade back up after using it after the first fight here. And that's going to come out onto the discorded target of Tomzy, and he's aggressing now to Shaz, finds that kill as well. They have definitely cleaned things up pretty nicely here. They have established a lot of control. They still have a couple of options here with Tavik, Manton, and Reinforce still with their ultimates, as of course they want to be able to utilize that. D.Va going to be eating up that tac visor initially to find that kill, and seems as though Misfits with the ability to take this one here. They'll have to hold on though for a little bit longer. Winston jumping onto the point. That's Christopher as he actually gets taken down as well. Dragon Blade coming out from Fisher. This is basically the last ditch effort, but does not find any kills. Finds Zebasai actually with the reflect, and that's going to be it as Tavik finds him as well. They just need to deal with this D.Va here, Sev. And if they can get him out of mech, they're certainly going to be in a great position to hold this out as the rest of the team is getting closer to getting their ultimate. Zebasai certainly looking to try to get that Transcendence up, but since he was picked off, not going to be able to get that off anytime soon. And Misfits, nonetheless, without that primary healer of the Zenyatta, it's just a Lucio on the point. They still managed to hold on for so long, but time still ticking away as we're seeing Hammers Esports jumping in and out of this control point, man. What do you make of this, Sideshow?
Tomzy almost used the sound barrier there, would have been able to stall for a little bit longer, but Misfits have played this so well. They've still been able to stall for an incredible amount of time here, Hammers, but they're slowly going to get whittled away, and I've got to give props to Misfits there because they played that one absolutely beautifully. They set themselves up with that ultimate advantage so that they have 5 on the board, and Misfits, Hammers, I think only had 1, maybe 2, something like that. On the initiation, they don't go for all of the kills immediately. They don't go just to burst all of that massive ultimate bank that they have and try and get a wipe and get the cap. It doesn't cap quickly enough for you to be able to wipe and just steal Hanamura away like that. You have to endure this long, grueling fight. So the ult economy there from Misfits was really good. Nevik saves his Dragon Blade until maybe the 3rd spawn wave, and then they've still got the primal wave for the next one. Then there's a sound barrier dropped on something like the 4th spawn wave. They used their ultimates brilliantly, just one at a time. You know, one ultimate was used to deal with one wave of incoming defenders, and then another one was used for the next, beautifully chipped away, and they take that attack with 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Beautiful offense. And now they get an opportunity as well to see if they can improve on their point A defense as well.
So Manton actually going to go over to the Tracer. So they're going back to their original style of composition on this particular map, which is bringing out that, I guess, more traditional dive, and Zebasai going to be on the Ana this time around. So going away from that Torbjorn, I mean, do you think they have a better shot here? I mean, obviously they only have to hold for a minute, but certainly, I mean, their first point holds have, like you said, been on the verge of catastrophic, I would say, so far.
Yeah, but they've been playing a very reactive style, and this one should be much more aggressive. They're playing triple DPS v triple DPS. The only change is that Zebasai's on the Ana. They can play that a little more passively and heal up the players once they've got position over on the hut where Reinforce and Zabe are currently. So I think this should be good for them.
And they already get the kill off on Snizzlenose, who did find Zebasai, so certainly they're looking to try to get him back as soon as possible. Still putting out a lot of pressure there to Vic finding Fisher, but not before Reinforce falls, so trade kills going out for the offense there on the side of Hammers Esports, as Sev looking to try to take some more himself. He does finish off Manitin, and they're going to have a pretty long spawn to walk back from here for the defensive side, so Hammers Esports with a great opportunity to try to get some control.
Yeah, the fact that Zebasai dies immediately to a Helix rocket is disastrous for Misfits, but they might still be able to defend. They're all coming in now. They got their spawn and they can engage in one last fight. No ultimates on the board here. Just comes down to which team is better at initiating the team fight and getting that triple DPS dive.
And we will see Hammers Esports holding on for a little bit here. Shaz getting contested, gets taken out by Manitin. Manitin surely going to fall there from Snizzlenose. And we do see as well Reinforce just jumping around again, trading from both sides here. And Reinforce in a little bit of a battle with the Winston. They find the kill on Christopher, backing them up a bit. But Reinforce dies off Fisher with the Dragon Blade, looking to clean things up here again on this first point. And does find the kill on Fisher. And that's going to be overtime ticking down. Misfits somehow battling back and getting that hold there in overtime.
Great play from them. One thing to watch out for, though, is that Zebasai was the first death in both of those attacks. The first time catching a Helix rocket, the second time getting picked off by Fisher. That's the kind of individual play on Ana that we were a little concerned about coming into this fixture, and just with Misfits in general. Seems like he hasn't quite adapted to the positioning and ability to peel and kite on Ana yet.
And now he's going to be going over to the Zenyatta. So for their attacking side, they have 3 minutes to work with. I mean, they have looked, I would say, pretty consistent on the attacking side. That I mean, you don't see them, again, often really jumping in and making a first push. I guess, I mean, they do aggress very, very much together. They do find their picks, but typically you see a little bit of some stalling on the defensive side, and it's really kind of, I guess, on the second fight, maybe the third, but certainly the second, I guess it would be their most consistent that they are able to take the point. Do you think 3 minutes is going to be able to work with Misfits' favor there, and maybe Misfits be able to close this one out, or do you think it's going to be tied up?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to deliver this one. 3 minutes, and they have a spawn advantage. It's such a ridiculously long spawn all the way back from Hanamura B to be able to contest this point for the defenders, that even if they just manage to trade and get 1-for-1 picks, they'll be in a great position to be able to take this in 3 minutes. It's a long time.
Now things are going to start off. They have that 2-2-2. Manitin on the Diva here. Nevix into Vic on that Genji and Tracer respectively. Zebasai, again, as we said, has gone over to the Zenyatta for the attacking side, as he's been on quite a lot lately, and they're jumping right onto Christopher, get him down pretty low, as Tavik actually going to get picked off. Snizzlenose has been very, very strong in these opening stages, giving them advantages like 6v5. He was able to get that Helix rocket kill on the Soldier the last time around in overtime on the opposing side, but Snizzlenose actually with a lot of picks as well onto Tavik with this Roadhog.
And Reinforce and Manitin up in this top ledge where they were playing from on the previous attack, looking to do damage and stay alive in this position. Snizzlenose can turn the tide of the fight at any point here by getting a big hook onto one of the players, but hasn't been able to just yet. And a lot of this fight is going to focus around whether they can get the next pick. And Sev has fallen. Disastrous here for Hammers.
Ooh, really, really good positioning there from Manitin to be able to save Nevix there. And able to block out a lot of that damage. Surely with that particular kill on Snizzlenose and being able to protect Nevix long enough for him to be able to stay in the fight. And not only that, but also generate up this Dragon Blade. That should be it here. Things should close out given the spawn. And we will more than likely see Misfits with an opportunity here to hold on. Sev going to be jumping onto the point, but that's not going to actually work out. It looked like he was on the point to me, but is not going to be able to get there. 3-2 in favor of Misfits, and that's going to tie things up 1-1 and give the opportunity for Hammers Esports now to pick a map and a side for this last match.
Yeah, they've got that kind of advantage moving into the final series, and in general they looked reasonably good on the triple DPS, or just dive compositions in general for Hammers. Their attack was pretty decent. They just looked like they didn't quite have the same understanding that Misfits did of how to defend on Hanamura. Particularly on that point B, Misfits are very good at being able to both close out the game and stall for a crazy amount of time. So that seems to be why they are favoring going to it every time they've got the opportunity.
Yeah, and they've been, I mean, now that makes them 4-0 on it, and that certainly looks great for them. But, now looking at how things have turned out here for Hammers Esports, now looking to go onto the third and final map of the series, up against a team like Misfits, a very, very strong team, pretty much holistically. I mean, on any map, they're going to be a hard team to contest. But, looking back at Hammers Esports, when they've lost, their map picks typically go for, Hollywood, Numbani, that kind of map. Yesterday, they picked Numbani after their loss on Hollywood. Do you anticipate them to go for Hollywood or Numbani here for this next map?
I feel like Hollywood would be the best pick here. Whenever Misfits have played it, they look a little shaky on the defense whenever it gets to that final portion. And Hammers have actually played surprisingly well. It's the kind of map where Triple Tank can work out, although their defense actually has also looked fairly shaky. But there's been a lot of parity across this group on Hollywood in particular, which I think has a lot to do with there's been a lot of individual talent and teams understand how to play the map. And Hammers have really good ult coordination, so they can tend to close out the map where other teams can struggle.
So we are going to be seeing Hollywood as that map. So it seems like there's been some, we've found now some consistency between these teams. And that was something that going into this tournament that I was a little bit concerned about as someone that typically casts NA. I didn't know as many of the trends, especially considering, a lot of people really knew a lot of the trends in terms of map picks and comforts and stuff like that between rosters and everything like that. Given the fact that we just hadn't seen that much with the EU region, at least as of late. And certainly a lot of these teams have come out. I mean, Hammers Esports, we haven't seen them since they were the Chavs. This is their first showing, at least that I've seen from them since their signing. And then, of course, Misfits being over in Korea for so long, and Dignitas we haven't seen in a while as well. So a lot of these teams we just haven't seen, and now we're seeing some consistencies here that we can kind of dig out, seeing that we have Hammers Esports feeling comfortable on maps like Hollywood and Numbani. Certainly, I think a lot can be said about their win over Nepal. But going into this next match here on Hollywood, give me your prediction. What do you think is going to happen here? Do you think Misfits are going to take it? Do you think it's going to go in favor of Hammers Esports with a little bit of an upset? After Hammers Esports, even if they win this, will not qualify for the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they're out of it. So yeah, I mean. What do you think of a potential upset up against Misfits by a team that, even if they get it, won't be in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very strange situation. And going into this tournament, having not seen how these teams played in the more dive-oriented patch that we've moved on to recently, I would have actually put Hammers as my second favorite to be performing in this group above Movistar and Dignitas, but they look like they've got some weaknesses against the dive teams. They don't look that comfortable with it themselves, but my point is that they're still a really good team, and they can contest people like Misfits, especially if we were playing on the other patch, you would have seen them be a real team to contend with as well. So although it's definitely an upset, there are a lot of good teams in Europe that we're only just starting to really see and dig a little bit below the tip of the iceberg. In terms of what they're going to do on Hollywood here, they're starting out on attack. I think their attack will be centered quite a lot around how they make use of their ultimates, like the Graviton Surge and the Whole Hog and the Earth Chatter as well. I expect them to finish the map, but probably in something like overtime, and then get crushed by the Misfits attack, because Misfits have looked really good on the offense.
I have to agree here, and we are seeing that classic composition coming out here from Hammers Esports. That's going to be with Triple Tank, Sev on the Zarya there, as well as Fisher on the Genji. They're looking to just aggress onto this point, try to find a pick from Snizzlenose, and of course Fisher just looking to try to make the most out of the damage he can find, getting an open pick, and then hopefully get that Dragon Blade pretty soon so they can take advantage of that. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing some aggression coming out from this Triple Tank, backing Misfits up completely here, and actually Misfits not taking too much damage, at least initially. Sev actually is going to be the one to take most of the hits, as Tavik now sitting at about 50%, just over that now, as he's been able to find even more onto these tanks. We have to remember, a nice kill onto Christopher and Reinforced from both sides there. A Sleep Dart coming out onto Fisher. That's going to be Tavik with an easy elimination. Misfits definitely looking poised to try to take this, and the Nano Boost actually coming out onto Sev as he's looking to try to get that Graviton up very quickly. Tavik up top with the high ground, trying to take the kill off on Shaz. Snizzlenose comes over and finds that kill as well to protect him, and it's back and forth here on the point. Nano Boost coming out onto Manitin this time, and he takes most of the pressure off, has 100 energy and the Nano Boost, but is not able to get off too much damage there before it's out. And he does have the opportunity for a Graviton pretty soon here, as Sev wasn't able to do much with that Nano Boost himself. 99% here, and it is coming up, so they should be able to wipe this pretty soon here. Sideshow, I mean, do you think it's going to be coming out? Do you think they're going to require it?
Here comes the Earth Shatter and the Graviton at the same time. Snizzlenose, Tomsy get caught in it, right? Reinforced debuff, but still manages to pick up the kill on the Lucio. And they only used the Whole Hog and the Earth Shatter there from Hammers. Oh, they've actually used the Nano Boost in as well. They want to try and turn this fight now.
And Nevix actually getting pulled into that Graviton. Christopher should be able to mop that up. Manitin and Zave still on the point. This fight has been 2 minutes long. We haven't seen any team pull out enough of a lead to back either off of the points. And we do see Sev taken down pretty low by those right clicks coming out from Manitin. He lands yet another. So accurate with that. Fisher yet again with a nice little sleep dart onto Fisher. They find that kill here. And Manitin going to have another opportunity to Graviton very shortly, as he's sitting now at 100% charged again. This man is on fire.
He is playing so well. He's completely outplaying Sev in this Zarya v Zarya battle. And it's so interesting that they played the Zarya and the Roadhog, but it's the opposite duo to when they normally play it on Nepal Sanctum, you know? Nevix just picks up the Roadhog on Hollywood, seems to prefer this. Manitin playing out of his mind on Zarya, picks up 4 in this Graviton Surge. They get the Biotic Grenade in the middle of it from Shaz, but everyone's still so weak, and that's surely going to be a wipe again in the favor of Misfits.
And we do see Christopher getting taken down pretty low, and with Manitin still alive, I mean, they just have so much control there because, as you said, this guy is absolutely on fire here, and I think it's good that they actually swap things around with Nevix going over to the Hog, because Manitin has just been feeling the Zarya, it seems, today. I mean, we saw him back on Shrine as well on Nepal, where they just really kind of ran over Hammers on that map because of Manitin's ability to just generate these Gravitons incredibly fast. I mean, if you look at stat lines for those 2 maps here on Nepal as well as that 1 Shrine map, he's definitely got some insane stat lines.
Beak with a Nano Visor around the back, gets caught by Snizzlenose, so his efficacy slightly reduced, but still picks up both of the supports. Zave's got the Sound Barrier, uses it now. Seb's just about to build up his ultimate. So here we go, 30 seconds left. And apart from the Nano Boost, there's going to be 5 ultimates on the side of Hammers Esports, so they could definitely take it here. Not much to reply from Misfits, despite the fact that they've held for so long and so well.
I would say a lot will come down to Zebasai's ability to sleep out Fisher or another priority target pretty soon here. He's been pretty consistent with that nonetheless. We do see the Sound Barrier coming out. A lot of ultimates coming out actually on the side of Hammers Esports. Nice Biotic coming out from Zebasai, but they still find the elimination on both Nevix and Zave. And that should be cleanup. Manitin just coming around with Zebasai. They're looking for an ability to jump back in, and that is not going to happen, as Manitin, with his 3rd charged Graviton Surge here in this map, overtime ticks up, and that's going to be the point going over to Hammers Esports here. And now moving into that second payload, what do you think their chances are of actually running it through? You said before that if they made it, it would be more than likely in overtime. Do you think they're even going to be able to actually get that second point? They used 5 ults in that last one just to secure the first in overtime.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for them here. There's going to be a lot of ultimates on the board, Nano Boost and the Graviton up, along with the Whole Hog, so almost definitely going to wipe in this first fight, with Misfits having the spawn advantage as well as this car gets low later and later towards the second checkpoint. Christopher's actually been Nano Boosted, stays alive, so that Graviton utterly useless. Fisher dived out of it as well. He's winning the 1v1 at the moment with reinforcers. They're both just swinging their hammers around. Shaz has found the fight as well. Earth Shatter finds Zebasai on the floor. Huge amount of utility taken out there, as Zebasai also had his Nano Boost active. This is great from Hammers, winning a fight that they had no right to win there.
Surprising, actually, that they were able to hold out, and basically just from space created by Christopher. We do see Nevix going over to that Pharah here as he's made that swap, and I mean, we have seen teams trying out the Pharah against this Hammers Esports composition that really doesn't have an effective way to deal with it outside of the Ana, who, I mean, really needs to be healing the triple tank composition almost exclusively. So, I mean, I think it's a good pick, but teams haven't really done super well with it. We'll have to see if Nevix can kind of turn things back around. He's all over Shaz at the moment, not able to find this kill. And look at this, they're actually pushing him off of this one, as well as Fisher coming alive with the Dragon Blade, finding 4 kills alongside Snizzlenose, and they backed them up completely. And it looks as though Hammers Esports, despite the fact that they didn't really look like they were going to be able to even make it to the second objective, not only made it, but in incredible time with a nice pace there.
They're just going to get blocked here, but they have the sound barrier to work with along with the nano boost. Probably going to go on to Christopher just to wipe off these last few players on the cart. Oh, he gets slept on the floor, really weak now. He is going to be able to survive just barely, only on 150 HP or so, but they're going to wipe off the rest of Misfits. And now it gets to a sticky position here because they've got 2 minutes left, but if they continue this momentum rolling, Misfits are going to be in a bit of trouble. A lot of ultimates coming up as well for Hammers.
Yeah, Sev with the Graviton of his own to contest Manitin, and perhaps we might see a little bit of a battle of the surges here coming up. But nonetheless, I mean, at this stage, given the pace that was set there by Hammers Esports, typically what we see, I mean, a lot of times I would say, is a nice hold defensively as soon as things get around this corner. I mean, do you think that they're going to be able to open things up here as Reinforce actually jumps straight in? He gets taken, or Tvik actually gets taken out. Graviton's coming out there on the side of Hammers Esports, and they wipe the floor with Misfits.
Snizzlenose has been so unbelievably clutch. Every time Tvik takes this nano visor, Snizzlenose finds the hook, and he's instantly destroyed. Tvik normally gets like 1 kill out of it because you can just about survive with the nano boost on you, but look how close they are. They still have fields to work with. The nano blade comes out. This could potentially wipe everybody from Misfits.
And they need to find those kills. Tomsy was the only one eliminated inside of the Graviton Surge coming out from Manitin, and he's jumping all over Sev. Might be, I mean, certainly looking like he should be able to win that duel. Does indeed. Tvik finding some kills here as he's able to get away from Snizzlenose long enough to find some damage here. And they finally close things out. So now if it does actually get capped, it will, as you said, more than likely be in that overtime. But still, I mean, not a lot of time to work with to try to cap this one out. And we know how good Misfits is in trying to re-engage off of a spawn advantage that they have defensively.
Xavier used his sound barrier perfectly there to utterly neutralize the Dragon Blade, the Nano Blade, in fact, coming out of Fisher. But now Tomsy's going to have one of his own, and this sound barrier could be pivotal in terms of getting the advantage in the fight. But Tvik so posted up on this high ground, doing a lot of damage. It doesn't seem to matter. The sound barrier is used. They have so much health and they're on the point. It's only Manitin left there in the overtime. Gonna be able to cap it. Look at that. Hammers using their ult so effectively.
That was just so good. I mean, I think it really kind of came down to their ability to deal with Reinforce, because not only did we see a nice sidestep come out from Christopher to jump into the backline and hit a nice Earth Shatter, but also as soon as Reinforce turned to try to take on Christopher and maybe get a little bit of a shutout here so that he didn't have as much effect with his Earth Shatter, he got slept immediately by Shaz there and put to the ground, so he was kind of slowed and incapacitated a little bit for a second there. Trying to get up and try to get his bearings again, and they just basically just ran them over with Reinforce not able to really kind of make the difference in that particular setting. And again, I think a lot can be said about what you were talking about before with Snizzlenose. His ability to shut Tvik down so far in this matchup has been outstanding, and I think it's been a big reason why they've been able to actually contest pretty well with this particular roster here.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous because Roadhog is a hero that is defined almost by his inconsistency. If you hit the hooks, you're going to get almost insta-kills every time you do it, but only the best players can hit really consistent hooks onto pivotal targets at pivotal times. You know, sometimes an insta-kill isn't that important, but when you've got a nano visor coming into you, threatening to wipe out all of your supports, as Tvik times it perfectly and his position is great, but I think that was 3 times over the course of that attack that Snizzlenose managed to hook him in really crucial situations, just saving the hook to be able to neutralize him and knowing that he can hit it time and time again. And they've managed to cap in overtime.
So now that we see the triple tank composition coming out here with Sev over on the D.Va, and we're seeing a dive composition with Tvik over on the Pharah, what do you make of this? How do you think Misfits on the attacking side is going to fare here in this matchup?
Tvik's really good at being able to position himself on Pharah, so despite the fact that he's playing into a D.Va and a Soldier 76, if Fisher positions himself in any kind of vulnerable situation, then Tvik's going to dive onto him really quickly with Reinforce and Nevix, and they're going to try and take Fisher out. And if he gets removed from this composition of Hammers, that's a lot of damage removed from the situation, and it's going to give Misfits a big advantage. I expect this attack to be pretty good from Misfits.
And we are going to be seeing Fisher being kind of throwing some rockets at Tomsy actually in the back, going to be the target of Tvik, as he's actually taken out by a nice body shot there as Tvik finds the first kill and opening things up. That's going to be big for Misfits to jump in with. Sev getting pushed off a bit. Christopher has his barrier up, but it's low here. And with Manitin being killed off, it's going to slow the pace of things a little bit, but certainly they should be able to find the kill on Christopher, and they do indeed. Snizzlenose looking for that kill on Tvik. Not going to be able to shut him down this time, as the Pharah not going to be as vulnerable as the Soldier. Tomsy coming back into this fight, but look at this. Tvik already with the barrage, like basically ready to go here, and a nice body shot there certainly is going to secure the barrage to be ready. Tvik looking for an opportunity, gets it right at the base of the stairs here. Sev going to be taken out of the mech, and they should find that kill as well. They are going to be trading Tvik's life for it, but it looks as though Misfits should be able to jump on this. Actually, Christopher able to jump in and push these guys back without reinforce. They're going to be backed up, and they don't even get a single tick here to show for how good they looked on their attack, I would say.
That's madness that Hammers are able to defend that one. Just Christopher coming in at the end, and even though they were getting the picks one by one, they never got any kind of complete team wipe, and Tvik dying at the end there along with Nevix meant that they didn't have the damage to be able to wipe the last couple of players off the point. But now we're going to start to get some ultimates on the board for both teams. Shaz and Fisher, the first one is live.
And we will see Manitin looking for an opportunity. I mean, he died off last time, which kind of slowed things down a bit, but if he can stay alive here, looking for an opportunity to pulse bomb as well. I mean, these guys are all bunched up. He's going to try to throw it out, and he throws it out indeed, and not going to find anything at all as Fisher finds 2 kills with that nano visor, and he's just looking for more, as Hammers Esports more than likely going to back them up once again, and looking fantastic here actually on the defensive side, at least so far. Tvik once again trying to get that barrage back up and ready, is going to be able to secure that as the rest of the team is backing up completely. Self-destruct coming out, gonna find the kill on Reinforce, despite the fact that it was, I mean, it was out there for so long and not really in a great position. Curious as to how how Reinforce let that happen, but nonetheless, Misfits backed up again.
Reinforce jumped onto it, placed down his bubble, and then couldn't get outside of his bubble quick enough. So it kind of, all of the explosion was trapped inside his own Winston bubble and just went straight onto him instead. And then you saw Tvik actually use his barrage to make sure that Seb stays outside the suit. So they're really prioritizing this D.Va, making sure that she stays outside the suit. Tomsy and Fisher dying to the dive of Tvik, instantly just nips over the top of that house, piling rockets into all of their backline, and this is the attack that Misfits needed. Sev back in the suit for a bit of delay, but surely going to get demeched immediately.
And that is looking like Misfits with not a lot of time left, able to finally take control of this point here, and it does seem like Hammers Esports not going to be jumping in for a contest at all, as they're just coming off a respawn now and getting themselves into position for this streets phase of the map. Nonetheless, Manitin, Zave with their ultimates, as well as Reinforced. Nevix coming up soon, as well as Tvik's barrage. So certainly the attacking side with a lot of options here, looking for Snizzlenose to make a pick here to try to shut things down. He's been pretty good about that in the past, but they're basically going to need him, I would say, in the rest of this map if they want to be able to take this series here.
They're playing aggressively at the moment. Nevix dashing through them, lots of damage. Dragon Blade used, Fisher dies. They catch Nevix in that Earth Shatter though and use the whole hug, gets reflected a little bit back towards Snizzlenose. And Zebasai's, Nevix is still at large. Zebasai pounding damage into everybody with these orbs as well. And they win this fight at the beginning of the streets phase. That's going to allow them a lot of momentum to keep forwards and give them control over the high grounds on top of Saloon as well.
And it's really going to come down to if Fisher can actually generate up that tactical visor to kind of put up with that nano. I mean, we've seen a lot of nanos go in the way of Christopher, but certainly I think that is surely going to be going over to Fisher if he can generate that ultimate in time. And I imagine he should be able to in time for this next fight. Just going to be looking for some damage onto either Reinforce or Tvik in the skies here, but Barrage going to be more than likely coming out pretty soon here. Sound Barrier going to come out. That's just to protect a little bit. Shaz still going to be killed off as Fisher very, very dangerously low, as well as the Pulse Bomb taking out Christopher. Looking like Misfits actually with a lot of control in this fight, basically slow pushing with the dive here, taking guys out one at a time. Self-destruct going to come out, and it actually does kill Zave off, and maybe makes a play for Snizzlenose to come out, but that's not going to be the case. He dies. Tac Visor coming out with the Nano Boost as well from Fisher, as he did manage to generate that. Nevix going to fall to it, and the Transcendence should save everybody else, but certainly they need to find that kill, and Manitin does just that. And this might be Misfits finally getting control, but still, these spawns coming out from the side of Hammers Esports, trying to contest this one, as it is Tomsy jumping on, and he actually gets picked off as well to Vic, and Manitin able to find that kill, and looks as though Misfits able to secure this one here with just a meter left to go. And they do indeed. 2.5 minutes remain here for them to close this map out. Do you think they're going to be able to do it?
They're looking good for it so far, aren't they? They've got a lot of ultimates on the board as well. They had to use the Transcendence, and despite the fact that Hammers have the huge spawn advantage there and a lot of health in their pools, so they can keep contesting that point for ages, they got no verticality. Fisher had to expend about 20 seconds just making his way up top, using those lifts and all sorts just so that he was in position for the Nano Visor. Now here come the ultimates out from Misfits. Reinforced diving forwards, Nevix with the Nano Blade as well. Sorry, not the Nano Blade, just the Dragon Blade. It's a naked Dragon Blade for him, but it doesn't matter as they pick up everybody that was contesting the card there from Hammers.
They did use a lot though for that. I mean, Manitin, Reinforced, Nevix, all making those changes. So I mean, they're going to be sitting pretty low here. But the big factor I think is the fact that they still have the barrage available as well as that sound barrier coming up here. And we will more than likely see both of those used in this next fight just to try to secure things. Snizzlenose with a nice kill on Manitin on the Tracer initially to open things up, but an even nicer one there onto Tavik to just reduce that sound barrier to nothing, and now he's not going to have that available if he wants to use the barrage. They still find that kill as Snizzlenose actually found the kill on Zebasai, so not going to be able to use the Transcendence either. Barrage still at the ready here. Tavik very healthy, but I'm not sure if they're going to be jumping in here as Reinforce is dead. I think they're going to wait for this one to be able to re-engage with everybody and hope for Zebasai to get that Transcendence about halfway through.
There are so many ults up here for Hammers Esports. They've got the sound barrier, whereas Zabe doesn't. He's not even close to it. He just used it. And they've got Fisher with his potential for a Nano Visor. This is going to be really difficult here. They've got to get perfect use out of this Transcendence from Zebasai and the Dragon Blade from Nevix.
We will see Tavik looking for an opportunity to go for the barrage. Reinforced just jumping up here and not making a leap yet, but just kind of establishing control on the point. Christopher going to try to back him up. Shaz actually just going to be contested, running right back. We see the self-destruct come out, finding 2 kills. That's Nevix and Reinforced. Oh man, is Hammers Esports going to be able to do it? Fisher backing these guys up as well. 20 seconds remain. I mean, if they kill Manitin here with 16 HP, and they should be able to do that, and they do indeed, they're not going to be in a great place at all to try to get up on the point and really kind of get a good fight going here. I mean, Manitin has the Graviton, but with 8 seconds remaining, they're not going to be able to engage with it. That's going to be something they have to use later on. They're going to have to jump on the points here to try to get this overtime.
They timed it perfectly so that they actually get 2 fights out of that with only like 30 seconds left, but here's a nano-boosted Whole Hog, blasting them all off the cart. Reinforced using his health pool with this Primal Rage to eat up most of it. There's the Graviton into a debuff with that Biotic Grenade, takes out Snizzlenose and Christopher. They need to deal with Sev as well, but this is a good start for Misfits in overtime.
And Reinforced jumping right into the back line, trying to take out Fisher as well as Shaz, and a great Biotic Grenade coming out from Zebasai. We talked about him maybe not being the best Ana here, but nonetheless making a great play in that particular phase of the map, and they finally close this one out here again in overtime. Wow. So both teams given a minute to work with to try to take this first objective to determine who's going to be the victor of this map, or if it's just going to go to a tie. And we have to remember, if it does go to a tie, we will go to a tiebreaker map of Oasis, as this is the 3rd map. We will go straight to that. But nonetheless, I mean, what do you think here going into this overtime phase? Both teams with a minute. Do you think anyone's going to be able to cap it out?
If we look at how both teams attacked, it took them a long time, but Misfits by far had the better defense of the two of them. Misfits looked good on the attack as well, but Hammers somehow managed to clutch and hold on and just keep a couple of players on the point, sorry. Whereas Misfits had a really dominant defense. So I think if they carry on playing as they were in the first round, then Misfits should definitely be able to defend here, and then we'll have a good attempt to be able to take it in a minute. But the most likely outcome, I think, here is a draw. But what a clutch even to put them in that position from Misfits.
And now Hammers Esports, I mean, we talked about it before, with an opportunity here to perhaps upset the team that has so far gone lossless in this group stage, and now being in a position to be upset a little bit by a team that, I mean, still very, very solid team of Hammers Esports. We definitely can't say enough about that. They're still a very solid roster, despite the fact that they, I mean, even if they win this game against the #1 seed right now coming out of Group B, they'll still be not able to make it into the playoffs at all.
There comes the attack as well. They're going with the triple tank and the Genji. They need a big pick from Snizzlenose. He is their playmaker at the moment, and he's immediately called reinforced. Way out of position. The debuff from the Ana grenade as well. That's got him down to half health, but Nevix replied with a hook of his own. And again, Misfits establishing control, doing a ton of damage to everybody else, and Hammers are battered away from their prize.
And now 25 seconds remain here, so really only one more opportunity for Hammers Esports. They might be able to go and have like a little bit of a stagger, but for the most part, this is it here. Manatan really kind of stepped up in the past for them. He's sitting now at 90 energy again here, and I'm looking for him on the side of Misfits to really make a play defensively here. We see him getting up to 72%, and he's laying into Sev at the moment as well, and he gets the nano boost, looking to try to take on Snizzlenose in the back here. Does get his ultimate. Graviton comes down. That's onto 2. Snizzlenose pulls him in, but not going to be able to find that kill, and he actually might find the kill onto Snizzlenose himself. Does indeed. Manatan once again coming alive here on the defensive side here for Misfits. The kill comes out on Shaz as well. Christopher gonna be eliminated, and that should be overtime, ticking down with Misfits with control of the point here on the defensive side, closing that overtime out for that particular side there at least. And we will see Manatan, a big reason as to why they were able to pull that off.
Yeah, also want to point out Nevix as well, who definitely got the better end of the Roadhog v Roadhog battle. Got 2 really crucial hooks into Christopher, dealt with him immediately. And although it's definitely more difficult to play the aggressive Reinhardt in this... more difficult to play the aggressive Reinhardt when you're actually on attack on Hollywood A. Reinforce, despite being hooked a couple of times and hit by Anna's biotic grenades, managed to stay alive with some great positioning and help from the rest of his team. So the coordination from their tanks on Misfits really great on this Hollywood defense. And now they've got the opportunity with a minute on the clock to steal this map away and the series.
And again, I think a lot is going to come down to Sev here to be able to prevent a lot of the damage that's going to be coming out. And certainly he was doing a decent job of it in the past and really kind of controlled the point well for them as well, by establishing himself there on the D.Va with the mech up as well. But Tvik now back on the Pharah here. I mean, do you think they're going to be able to do it? They have 1 minute to work with. They were able to do pretty well to start things off, and Hammers, like you said, was able to just contest for so long, and by virtue of, I would say, miracle, basically hold out. Do you think that that's going to happen again? Do you think that we're going to be seeing some plays come out, or do you think that Misfits is going to be able to close this one out?
What they lacked last time was the finishing power from Misfits. So although they were getting the picks, they weren't able to actually finish the map up. And Fisher's positioning was great, and the one time that Fisher got picked, they lost the point. So he's a real power player to try and get out of this composition from Hammers, and they need to use these ultimates super effectively from Misfits to be able to cap within a minute as well.
Fisher getting laid into in the back there. Tvik definitely looking to try to make the most of it, but he's getting down kind of low, and we see actually the Hammer's defensive side just pulling back, trying to get into a better position. An opening kill onto Fisher, though, as Tvik now has free roam for the most part. Still has to kind of worry about the... Ooh, a sleep dart coming out there! And Sev finds the kill on Tvik. Manatan looking to try to take the mech out of Sev, and does indeed, but not before Snizzlenose finds 2 kills of his own. And then again, it's going to be back and forth. And we do see the pulse bomb coming out from Manatan, looking to try to take the kill on Tomsy. He's got him down very, very low. Snizzlenose healing on the point, but going to get headshot to oblivion. Fisher coming back onto the point and establishing control as things tick down. No overtime even coming out, and that's going to be a draw here between Hammers Esports and Misfits. And now we're going to be going on to Oasis for a tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken here.
What a clutch sleep dart coming in from Shaz, and then Snizzlenose with a great hook as well to take a couple of other players out of that situation. And great play from Hammers individually there. They only needed one real clutch, but as soon as Fisher went down, it was looking dodgy for them, so they absolutely had to pull something out of the bag. And now they're going to be going over to Oasis, best of 3, to decide who wins this series. And it's going to be a tough one, because Oasis, like Nepal, has got a big variance between its different stages as to which compositions are preferred, and whether you can use like D.Va's really effective on City Center, for example, triple tank favored on University. So this is again going to be some really great action between these two teams.
So now going into this next map, I mean, I don't think we've seen any of these teams, because I don't think we've seen a tiebreaker at all throughout this entire series, if I'm not mistaken. At least Group Stage B, I mean. So we haven't seen any of these teams on Oasis in particular. So we can't go off of historical evidence, but given what you just said based on compositions and the maps and everything that goes on with that, Who do you think has the advantage going into this next matchup? I mean, we've seen Hammers Esports pulling out dive composition, so I mean, certainly we know that they're capable of doing that, and they have a good triple tank set up as well. What do you think?
Kind of comes down to how much Hammers have prepared on Oasis as well, because I get the feeling that some teams are less comfortable on that because it's a newer map than they are on something like Nepal. So even though they looked really good on Control, and they will probably be pretty good in terms of how their composition and playstyle fits on both City Center and on the University, I'm not sure, man. The Pharah coming out from Tvik as well might just wipe them away on both Gardens and City Center. It's going to be super interesting. It's going to be very close, I think.
So this is not something that we've seen at all, actually, from Hammers Esports, which is this 2-2-2 setup now. Utilizing a Mercy here. Sev on the Diva at the moment, and Fisher actually going to be over to the Pharah. Snizzlenose back on that Tracer. You mentioned before how Snizzlenose perhaps doesn't feel super comfortable on the Tracer. I mean, we haven't seen him over on it very consistently, and in fact, we've actually seen Snizzlenose when it does come to a Tracer Soldier setup, Snizzlenose actually sometimes going over to the Soldier 76 instead. What do you make of this particular composition coming out from Hammers Esports here? Do you think it's going to be able to actually do anything and be able to shut down Misfits, or do you think Misfits just with a big advantage with this, I mean, what is almost a complete mirror other than Tomzy and Zebasai here?
Yeah, it's interesting that Snizzlenose is going for the Tracer rather than the Soldier 76, which he definitely could play, but probably just a matter of them using the Mercy and him wanting to zip around and play the objective instead and try and feast on these tanks, see how it works.
And now we will see Tvik and Fisher up in the skies, both with the Mercy of their own. Zave getting down pretty low here. Fisher actually does get body shot there, and Tvik actually getting taken down to 50 HP, 12 HP there as the hit scan's laying in. And it does seem as though it is going to be Misfits actually with some initial control reinforced coming alive on the kill feed with 2 kills there. And Manatan just pushing this Tracer off. They do get control of the point, and they're going to now tick it up in their score line. With a late kill on a Snizzlenose, certainly looking good to start things off here.
Gotta say, with this composition, I definitely do prefer, with the mobile tanks, I mean, and the Pharah, I definitely do prefer the Ana Mercy support structure rather than the Lucio. I wonder how much value they're actually going to get out of Tomzy here. Obviously, his ultimate's impactful, but so is the Mercy ultimate and the Nano boost, so I think it works slightly well for Zave and Zebasai here.
We will see Tvik and Fisher in the sky once again. Fisher did just land a body shot, if I'm not mistaken, so able to kind of contest with that a little bit. And now he's actually still going back and forth between these two guys. And Fisher did, oh, 2 nice shots coming out there from Tvik to close out that little duel in the sky. And they should be able to take that pretty easily there, as it is going to be the Diva out of mech. Sev just kills himself off there. And it will be nobody left on the point here, now ticking close to 50% for Misfits after only 2 engagements.
Nevix is so individually good on the Tracer as well. Both him and Tvik are excellent at Tracer. And comparing that over to Snizzlenose, he hasn't really been able to find his feet or have an impact in this round just yet. And Tvik is winning the Pharah v Pharah war in the skies as well.
We will see that self-destruct come out both sides with a Resurrect, but that's going to be Shaz taken out immediately, so they won't have that advantage going into this. Tvik and Zave definitely trying to stay alive so that they can make the most of that one, and we do see a teammate down. Zave going to just bring him right back into the fray, as that was Tvik that was taken out, and they bring him right back. Shaz coming into this fight pretty soon here, but not before we do see the rest of the team taken out. He's certainly going to be charged with trying to go in and make a big play here with the Resurrect. Certainly going to try to make the most of that, but 90% now, I mean, he's not actually going in at all. They're going to try to contest off of the respawns here.
Tvik has hidden so many of these percentage, like such a high percentage of these mid-air rockets onto Fisher and Shaz and taking them out of the fight. They've both got their ultimates up at the moment, but again, Tvik's going to be in this position, both firing rockets at each other. Tvik finds one, and Fisher doesn't have the heals next to him either, although Shaz has the Resurrect. They've got a lot of ultimates for both sides.
Self-destruct coming out. That's just going to try to push them off the point a little bit. Barrage comes out from Tvik. That's going to shut down the res. That should secure it as they find a couple more kills there. And Tvik, once again, able to come alive and able to find those shots as well. 2 kills on the kill feed for him at the very end, and that's going to be Misfits securing it 100-0 here on the first map of Oasis. And now moving into the second one, do you think that this I mean, this basically dominance asserted here by Misfits is going to continue? Do you think things are going to turn up a little bit when we can see Hammers Esports actually pulling out a triple tank strat, more than likely on this map here?
Yeah, they're going to be moving over to University. Should favor them massively, or massively compared to how they were performing in that previous stage at the very least, when Tweak was running all over them, running a train over them on his Pharah. And that's also going to continue over to Garden, another really good stage for Tweak's Pharah, which I expect them to pull out with Xavier on Mercy as well. So this is the stage that Hammers absolutely have to win, and they have the composition and the individual skill within their players to be able to pull out a victory here.
They're jumping in pretty quick here, and we do see the dive strat coming out with Manton actually on the Zarya. So 2-2-2 here coming out for Misfits, and high ground control coming out for Misfits as well, as Tavik jumping into the backline, trying to take some early damage out. But nonetheless, we're seeing Fisher really getting a lot of pressure out, but he gets eliminated so easily there by Tavik and Reinforce. And Reinforce just with 20 HP, able to get away somehow. It looks like Zebasai going to be able to heal him up, and he gets a nice little heal as well from that big health pack. So it does seem as though Misfits are going to be able to hold on to this one. Christopher trying to deal with Reinforce here at the front line, just jumping up and down here is going to be Reinforce trying to take this kill Discord onto Christopher. They might be able to deal with him. They find that kill to Vic with the finishing blow as he gets his pulse bomb up and ready. Might go ahead and just activate that initially, but nonetheless, we do see Fisher with the Helix rocket able to take out Zebasai. And now, although we do see control very much in favor of Misfits, they might be able to run in here with Zebasai perhaps not able to get in position before this fight actually starts up. Fisher now with the tactical visor. Shaz doesn't have that nano boost ready to go, but soon he will. Do you think they're going to be able to get this combo off? Oh, actually, the tactical visor already coming out, and a boostio onto Tomsy, and Fisher dies off because he didn't have that damage reduction either. And it does seem as though that play, certainly a big mistake coming out there from Hammers Esports, and I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to flip it, at least initially here.
And they committed to the tactical visor as well, unfortunately, and even though they're getting a couple of picks, this fight is just going to keep going on, and they've got so much mobility in the Misfits team, and their ultimates are starting to come online that they can drag this fight out forever.
And we do see a Graviton coming out as well. Sev getting close to one of his own, but he's still stuck in that. Not enough damage to execute some kills there. Nevik's going to find one onto Tomsy. And Sev pretty low here. Does get taken up by Reinforce, so they're not going to be able to have that option for the Graviton of their own to be able to flip that point with. And Manatan still with 100 energy, just laying into Christopher, who did get nano boosted there. If he can deal with Snizzlenose here and get some more ult charge, they're going to be in a great position to hold out here, as he's going to be able to get some more value out of this pick. I mean, Manatan has been incredibly consistent so far here on the Zarya, and especially with his ability to get these Gravitons up and ready.
A really great play from him, already at almost 80%. Seb's got the Graviton on the other side. Fisher nearly with his tactical visor as well, but needs to get in a great position. And they've been under so much pressure this whole time. Christopher's getting pushed really weak. They use the Graviton onto Manatan and Zebasai, get both of those picks. Great start for them, and Reinforce has been debuffed, so should be able to get the pick onto him as well. He actually just jumps off the side and resets. The strange thing here for me is that they're carrying on with Fisher on the Soldier 76 because they're under so much pressure that they actually need something like a Genji or a Tracer in their triple tank composition instead of the Soldier 76, I feel, to enact some kind of pressure onto the backlines of Misfits and get some of the stress away from Christopher, because he's bearing a lot of damage at the moment.
Now, they don't really have a lot of options. I mean, really, they only have Fisher coming up with something that's just a regular Tactivisor, and he was shut down pretty early on. Graviton going to come out. Tactivisor coming out at the same time, and he's going to get eliminated almost immediately there as Reinforce jumps in. They find the kill to open things up, and they need to find the kill on Tomsy as well. Finally getting it there pretty late on, but nonetheless, we will see some control going over to Misfits as he's jumping all over Christopher, and Christopher going to fall off despite that charge coming out there. Not going to be able to get him back on. Control goes over to Misfits. Now ticking down the overtime. It's going to be Fisher taken out, and that's 2-0 now for Misfits, and that's best of 3, so that's the series along with it. Misfits winning out the series, but still Hammers Esports very, very close there. Very good contest between these two teams here.
Incredibly close. Hammers showing that they're not some scrub team that just got invited to the tournament and wasn't able to perform. They just had some unlucky series. That upset against Team Singularity Ninjas, not what they were expecting, and then really close series against all the other teams. Could have won yesterday as well, but unfortunately are going to exit there in second to last place from our group. Despite a great showing here. And just talking about that final series, that final stage, though, I really think they should have adapted earlier on, because Misfits so good at playing the dive composition there, and they put so much pressure on them. You saw it in the very first fight, where Hammers roll out with this triple tank soldier composition where all of your damage is coming from the back line, and Christopher's really the only person, along with Sev, who's playing the Zarya, that can keep up the force of the front line with his shields. And because they've got players darting behind both the Genji and the Tracer, and they've got a lot of frontline damage with Reinforce that Christopher has to try and deal with, they need somebody exerting pressure onto Misfits as well to try and break up that attack. And they just didn't have that. For some reason, they didn't put Fisher on the Genji and run their triple tank Genji, which they're a big fan of. And they also didn't want to run Fisher on Tracer as well. So they kind of, flopped on Oasis when it could have been a good map for them, I think. And unfortunately, that made the difference.
So going into our next series here, it's going to be Movistar Riders versus X Alternate Attacks. Give me like your 20-second idea of what you expect to go into this next matchup.
Movistar Riders looked really good. They've only lost so far to Misfits, have beaten all the other teams. They've got a lot of flexibility and talent within the DPS, in particular, of their roster. Alternate Attacks as well, though, have shown kind of similar. They're really good when they're on attack. When it gets to something like Control, this is going to be a super good match.
All right, make sure you guys stay tuned here. We're just moments away from going into our second match between Movistar Riders and X Alternates. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.